Hi, everyone. In this episode, we're going to actually do a little bit more of help to the community to uh, take the books that are in your library and make a better use of them by converting them to ebooks at a very reasonable cost, approximately about $5 a book. And you'll see why it's excellent and is flawless and worth every penny and is permanent. You don't have to ever worry about losing the book. And you can also share it with others. You can put it on your screen and you can search it and do a host of other things, and we'll show you now how that will work. Now, the title of this is How to Make Your Research Zing with $1 Scan, especially with Airtable. Now, I want to be upfront. I'm getting absolutely nothing from $1 Scan. I don't want it. I feel the guy does such a hard work for such little money on each book that he's just he deserves every penny. I would never ask him for anything. However, I'm going to be showing you while we're doing this my Airtable and how I use it to manage things with him and orders, and then how to collect the ebooks and host them on my Airtable account. And Airtable is for free for life. It's whatever you want to make of it. But if you need to use store a lot of data on it, then they ask you to pay an annual fee, and that's where it gets more expensive, or it can be expensive, about $100 a year. So here's the thing: is for I'm going to send you this. I'm going to put in my description a request. If you want, you can sign up for free for Airtable, and again, free for life. Only if you want to upgrade it, you do it, but keep using it. It's an unbelievable product, best product on the planet. And I don't say that, 'cause I would not exaggerate. It's a go-to product. Everybody should have it and use it. It's like a spreadsheet database, relational database, all pulled into one. And we'll see. You'll see just some of the applications you can make of it in this episode. Totally customizable to your needs, your business, the way you think, not by some program. Anyway, so if you're interested, it'll be in the description. Please click through that, and then I get $1 credit. And so instead of having to pay $100, if 100 of you do it, I don't have to pay for this year. So that's all I'm hoping in that respect. But my real goal is that we get better at collecting our data and then searching it and then being able to share with one another in a legitimate way. And we're going to talk about copyright later, but basically you can't share the whole book if it's in copyright, but you can share if it's in public domain. So here we go. Let's take a look. Now, he has costs obviously associated with it, and he has a page on costs, and it's at the page you can see there in the left under cost, dollarscan.com pricing. And essentially, you have to learn his vocabulary, and he charges $1 per set. What does that mean? Well, it's $1 for every 100 pages, but you round up. So if it's 150 pages, that's for the first 100 pages, that's $1. For the next 50 pages, even though it isn't a complete 100, it's another dollar. So it rounds up. That's basically the rule you have to follow. And so I kind of, you can see he gives these examples. So if you look at the examples, he'll say a book has 50 pages, rounds up to the first one set. If a book has 820 pages, that rounds up to 9 sets. See, so it's just pretty obvious what he's trying to say. And so I have a way of how I read the rule is for each 100 pages, it's $1, including a roundup to the nearest 100 from the entire page total. So when you get to the end, if it's 750 pages, it's 7 sets plus 1 set, 8 sets. All right. But I computerized it so I wouldn't have to remember that. So we'll show you that later. And then he has this other thing. I never use this, but it's $16.50 a month to get 10 sets basically free. So for another $6.50, you're getting all these other membership benefits. Now, maybe I might have saved money had I done this with him, because I did a conversion of over 350 books from 2017, 18, all the way to 2022. So I took my time at it, but maybe I would have saved money at this. I don't know. I did spend a little extra with him, what I call the HQT fee, the high quality transfer fee. And it's not the same. It's not there on the pages now. So 4 years later, it's not the same as when I started with him. So I paid 70 cents extra, and I got an OCR, and I got the name saved with the name of the book, literally. And that means you don't have to get a book, a folder, a file that doesn't have the name built into the saved file. It's already there, and it even has the ISBN number. And as a result of that, he's able to download the front cover automatically without just automatically. So you always have the front cover, and you always have the name of the book so you can word search on it inside your computer. And if you have Windows 11, by the way, word searching is phenomenal now. It used to be terrible in prior versions, and I would recommend anyone to try out the Windows 11 search for files by just typing in the File Explorer window for that. Anyway, so that's his promotion now. For $16.50, you get these extra bennies. And here's the extra costs. So the $1 basic scan is the $1 I just told you about. If you want OCR, you got to pay another dollar. Okay, and you could also do OCR at home if you have certain versions of Adobe that do that. He'll give you the book title, is what I was telling you, only in English, and that be saved in with the book title. So therefore, it's automatically being word searchable when you get it. And then there's other things. There's express service, 5 to 10 business days. You pay extra $2. And also, what's important is he takes a Amazon Direct, he calls it, and he also says from online bookstores. So maybe he means more than Amazon. Whatever. I have him set up as an address, his business address. Uh, so when I buy a book at Amazon now, and I bought 2 in the last couple of months, and the book just goes direct to him. He then converts it, and then I get it and I download it from his my account with him, and he charges $1 to do that on top of the normal fee. Anyway, then he has high quality touch up. So that's what I paid extra for, HQT. So he does the highest quality OCR, does compression, angle, direction, and he also gave me the name. So maybe you make a deal with him. And he didn't charge me $2 a set. He charged me 70 cents, and that's how it's in my billing from way back when I was sending him the invoices. I would send my own invoice to him, and then he would send me a request for payment. Anyway, and then fine tuning and online status check. These are all things you get for free, and you'll see. And then he could deliver it to you on DVD or USB. And I originally, when I started with him, I used USB, and I would end up with a USB stick. So of course I have to pay for that. And but ultimately, I decided, you know what, his online, my account has all my books online right away, and I'd rather get it that way anyway. And I can do all kinds of fine tuning there, and so I've decided I'm just going to do it online, and it's free. You just run it through iTuning. So anyway, there's no need to use the USB, but if you need the option, you say in your when you mail this, you have to ship this to him. If you don't use Amazon as the shipment vehicle, you have to ship a box of books, and then he will send you the USB stick if you want, or you download the books. All right, and he says, here's your 3 easy steps. You go online and order, which I never did. I'll tell you why. Then you pack it all up, and then you'll receive it back from Dollar Scan. So what I did is I didn't do step 1. I did this. I created my own invoice order using Airtable, and it would give me an estimate myself. I'd like to know what I'm doing, how much am I spending on this stuff, because it's all mysterious unless you have it all quantified. So I'm going to show you how that worked. And his name, by the way, is Akiko. He runs it. And it seems to be he has some assistants, but he's the only person you really ever deal with, and he's obviously the owner. And he'll send you a PayPal request before starting work, so you can ship it all to him, give him your own self invoice like I was doing, and then he'll send you an email with a PayPal request. So that's how just to go back. That's why I never did this order and pay. And I guess I'm always just, I'd rather he's got the books and then I pay him, and then I feel like he's going to definitely take care of it. Okay. So, and then in his main webpage, you can sign up first, and then the next time you should log in with whatever your credentials were. And I'm going to go through this to you. Okay. This is where he now operates from. This is his address. So if you had if you had an Amazon order that you were doing with him, you would put this in as the address. And I actually put in his name, Akiko, $1 scan, and then he wants you to put your information somewhere in your own address, like the order number you had with Amazon. So uh, that's what he says. So that may be something you need to do. So find a way to work that in. So a Kiko and then Amazon order number, whatever. But I never did that. And I assumed when he gets the shipment, he can see the order number with the order. So I'm a little, I'm not that concerned that that has to be done the way it sounds on his website. I'm not sure that how that works, but he can explain that too. All right, and okay, next, and then when you sign up, you will see these options here, and you don't know what they are at first, but there's your order history. You can place an order, so that's what he was saying. Instead of what I was doing, shipping the whole thing to him, you go online and you place the order. You have to tell him how many pages there are, and so on. And when you finally then have an account and you've done some transactions, he's going to keep a log. You'll see over here. Here's the set number. So remember, the set is one set for every 100 pages, and then rounds up to the next 100. So there was 67. You know, presumably there's at least 670 pages. No, what was that? There's 6,700 pages in this set of books. Okay, now. But here's where you get all your information, and as the books come in, you can go in and go to detail. You see the books, can download them. You can yeah, that's basically all you do. Okay, and I clicked in on one of these to show you. It'll show when for my 70 cents, I was getting an OCR option, the book title option I told you about, the highest quality touch up, and data delivery option, which is online. So maybe his prices have changed slightly, but it's still always going to be worth it. Trust me, when you're looking at the big picture of cleaning up your house, one, and getting your books in a form that you can now share with others, prove to them in video form if you need to, what you're saying has some validity. And that's what I like to do. And I think you would all agree. Isn't it a lot better having visual proof of something in a textbook or a book that's considered authoritative for you to look at, so that you're not being swept away with the wind, and there's some groundwork that's going on here. And okay, so let's keep going. And now when you press the word detail in this list of the orders in your past, it's going to show up and show you your book. So here was the book I just recently purchased, and I can download the PDF, and I can then also fine tune the book for as well. So what I like to do, or I did do, is I would take a download of it, and I then also would get the fine tune, and I want to show you what that is. Here's the fine tuning. So when you click a fine tune, this comes up, and you get like look at all these options you have here. You have starting with iPad, iPad Air, iPhone 8, iPhone 3G, Kindle Oasis, Kindle Paperwhite, Kindle 4 tuning, Kindle Touch tuning, Kindle Keyboard, Kindle DX 4th edition, Fire HD, Kindle Fire, Android tuning, Android tablet, and Sony Reader, Nook tuning, Nook color, Nook, Nook color tuning, Biblio tuning, JPEG exchange. And the one thing I would always say is make sure you click this attach thumbnail to the first page of PDF, because you want to see the cover with your book. And that was the wonderful thing about Akiko, is every time you do it this way, his way, he keeps the ISBN number. That means the international book number, and that's connected directly through the saved file number he uses. And I think that's how he downloads the JPEG of your book directly, automatically, without him having to do anything. It's just done automatically by some computer step, and that's how your cover always has a beautiful, colorful color. Most of the 99% of the time, I've had one or two that was not possible. Maybe the book was out of print, and you didn't have this JPEG ability to download. So that is something to remember, to always click that attach thumbnail. All right, so now we're back here, and then I wanted you to see this other instruction. He says we cannot scan any publication by McGraw. Now, McGraw is obviously saying, hey, we think copying our book is a violation of our copyright. It is not. Okay, a long time ago, the Supreme Court said you can just go to a library and Xerox things. There's no copyright infringement copying anything, and it's your own book. It's not you, like, and it doesn't produce a second copy. In other words, you would have to then you on a receipt would have to do something wrong. You would have to then make copies of your book for other people, or make it accessible for download. And if you make a book entirely accessible for download, or the majority of the book accessible for download by other people, that is cooperating in copyright infringement. Please do not do that with books. What you can do is you can always take just the first few face pages to show what the title is and the biblio information, publication date, publication city, publication name, publisher name. Take those and then grab the section you needed. And if it's, it could probably be even 8, 9, 10 pages in the middle of a book if it all relates to the same thing and they all have to be included. But if you start grabbing, more than a chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, you're really going beyond and infringing on copyright. And copyright is a penalty of $250 for every infringement. So don't do that. So keep it so it's not a material. You've not. In fact, copyright owners are benefited if you do exactly what I'm saying. If you take a small segment of 8 pages or less, or preferably less, and you share that with someone with the face page information, you are actually helping and promoting sales. But when you take too much that it would deter someone from buying the book anymore, you've now actually lost their sale for them. So this is a quandary for the copyright owner. They don't want to squash people sharing little snippets of their books, or at least a page or two, or just a paragraph, whatever. Keep it as small as only what you need to in order to communicate the portion you want someone to see. And when you do that, you're helping the copyright owner. But if you go beyond that, you're interfering with the copyright owner. So that's the rule of thumb. And I do copyright law, so I'm pretty sure I have a handle on what is the right way to handle that. And that's exactly what you should do. Don't go too far. All right. So anyway, that's the lessons for today on this. And now I want to just show you how to do the billing. So I would include a record of what I was sending him, and I would be able to know, and therefore be not surprised by how much it was costing me. So I wanted to always know. So I just put in some numbers here arbitrarily, but I have formulas in this. So this is a database. It also has spreadsheet capability built in. So these figures over here in this column are being computed off of what's here. But I would be tracking. Here's my order 17. I'm going to ship it out to him, and I'm going to print this in a minute. I'm going to show you how I would do that. I put the book title here, the author title, the order number. You have to put the pages. You just type them in or whatever they are, and they'll change. And if it's 333, you have to change this manually. This is how I decided. And I meant to say McGraw here. So McGraw, if it's McGraw, you have to take that book out. So let's say he's McGraw. Oops. It's McGraw. So I would always write down the publisher so I wouldn't miss this in significant detail. And it turned out McGraw is a publisher of about maybe 3 to 4% of the books you have in your library, probably. So it's not without some importance that you don't ship something that isn't appropriate. So then you would have to what? You just delete it. So we're going to delete it like that. Boom, it's gone. All right. So let me show you what's on the screen here. So I would track the number of pages. Then remember, it's one set for the first 100. Then for the 56 after that, you round it up to 2. So and the best way to do this is just do it yourself manually. It's 2. Then this is computing off of this, and the formula is, if I'm going to show you if you want to see how this works. You write a formula: units times 0.70. That's what it was when I was doing it in 2018 in that period of time. And this comes out to 0.70 times 2.0 is 1.40. So I would have a decent guess at what the cost would be. So if you go down here and you see units, you see it says sum is 15. So I can set in Airtable. Let me just show you this. I can say sum, average, or whatever, and I decide on, instead of average, which would be 3, right? Just to show you, I make it sum. So I can see this is $15. Same thing here. Instead of, I could put this into another thing, max, range, medium, average, but I make it sum, and that's $10.50. So 15 plus $10.50 is what? $25.50 for these 5 books. That's over $5 a book. But for me, this is reasonable because I get a permanent version of the book. And I know I don't get the paper back. I don't get when he rips it apart, it's gone and he tosses it in the garbage. And that's part of why he's saying he didn't end up with a book. Nobody's ending up with a book. It all gets destroyed. So there's no copyright infringement the way he operates. So he doesn't get a copy from your copy. You are the only one who gets the digital version. So it's a complete, clean erasure of that book, and you don't get 2 copies. You only have 1. and that's why there's no copyright infringement. Anyway, so and then I track the name of the book and everything like that. And when it comes in, I actually have another field over here, and I have it. I can hide fields too, by the way. So it's did it come in, or excuse me, is it in the box? So when I go to uh, the post office, I put it in a box. And then as I do so, I actually put it in the box once and I take it out one more time and then I count. And I go like this. I said, okay, so they were all in the box. And if they're not, I go, oops, what did I do with that book? And I go look for it. And then I make sure the box contents match what I'm sending. So that's why, again, Airtable is useful for so many things. And you can see, I just make up these columns myself. This is nobody designed this. This is something I realized I need this to work with this man and to compute things with this person. That's why they call it a spreadsheet database, and it's relational as well, if you know what that means. So it can link off to other. There's all these other pages and so on that can all cross link with each other, and that's how it works. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a mindset. And by the way, like you can also use Airtable to keep track of all the correspondence I had with Akiko. So here's all my discussions with him, and I keep a copy of my letters with him and my emails, so I could look them all up in one place. So just to show you, and I'd sometimes print them out and attach them, so I would have a record of what I said to him, what he said to me, that kind of thing. So that's another great thing. Let's see what else here. Okay, so here we are back here. And just to show you something, I want to show you another great thing. So you're going to say, well, how can I use this for sharing books and so on? Well, it's this share view over here. Now you can't see it here, so I'm going to go over now. You're going to see when I got all the books in, I then put everything in. These are all my books that I scanned to $1 scan, right? So these are all those books, or most of them. And so if you have it here, you can then save the book. And I have the full copy here. So let's see if I can take something like this. Here's a book by a professor. This is called Apostasy. So when you highlight it, can you see this? It says Apostasy, a study in the epistle to the Hebrews. Oops. Well, hold on. So it's entitled Apostasy, is studying the epistle to the Hebrews, and in Baptist history, Dale Moody, and then it gives you the ISBN number. Do you see? This is why you pay a little extra, and he has it all typed out perfectly. Now, he doesn't have to do any typing. He just downloads the ISBN information automatically, and it's done for him, and he's not obviously going to have to type everything up. So there's never a flaw. There's never a typo. And but now, just to show you, now if I want to look at this book myself and read it, it always downloads quickly. It's uploading. It takes time, just so you know how that works. And so here's his book. And now I, have my notes. And that's another thing is by scanning, you get to keep your original notes. And then I can go through here. And then if I want, I can increase the size so I can read it better. And that's the other thing. As you get older, you'll realize, oops, it's really good to have books that you can increase the size of the font and you can see everything on the screen. It's very easy, much easier to read. So, and now also with when you go to Adobe, you can actually have it read it to you if it's been OCR'd, and that means optical character recognition. And every book you pay that extra high quality the HQT fee, he's going to give you an OCR readable text, which means you can open your PC or your iPad or maybe Kindle devices, and it'll be read to you in pretty good English. So that is another great thing about the way this book is coming to you is a lot better than the book you have that you have to read physically with your own hands. And now you don't have to do that at all. And I can tell you, I also have all my books transferred. They're not only on my PC; they're all on my iPad. They don't even take up, barely any room. 350 books. It's amazing, and they're all there, and I can read them at my leisure. I have a little pen that I bought, a pen for $75. Okay, so they're not expensive. If you have an iPad, you get this pen that will work with it from what's the name of that company? Okay, here it is. Actually, they brought the price down. It's now $69.95. Actually, from the Apple Store, I found it. It's gotten smaller. Mine was a bit longer, and it charges on the same lightning bolt way that your iPad charges if you happen to be using iPads. And so you can now mark up your books to your heart's content in a way you could never do conceivably with your books otherwise. And then there's another thing you can do with your books when you get it on your iPad. You can then bring it into something called Notability, or GoodNotes is another competitor of theirs, where you can now really mark up the text and go dig deep and do some extensive commenting. Then you don't worry because it's just digital, and so you can type and write. You can write a paragraph, and you could never fit a paragraph of information in the margin of any book that's published or printed, right? So there's so many advantages you'll get that you don't see happen just by simply converting the book for $5. Okay, and and what I want to encourage you to take this step, to take this leap, is spend $5. Simply buy a book at Amazon, a used book. And so that's another thing. You'll be able to save money on buying books at Amazon instead of buying the ebook, which usually, maybe 50% of the physical book price. You can actually get it much cheaper when you get the used book prices, and they're pretty good quality, and you will be able to actually have, I think, is a more authoritative looking text when you want to show somebody on a screen what something looks like. When it's a physical book, people usually know that you can't really play around with that. That's the physical book. But a digital book, who knows? But a physical book is a better proof of what was in that book. So now for $5, you're going to have the physical book. You're going to get it at a discount when you buy it online. So let's say you buy, I just recently bought a book that would be normally $25 if you had to buy it new, or even the digital one was like $12.99. But I got the used book for like $5, and I sent it to my friend Akiko, and he is going to charge me, and it's still pending. I think I paid for it already. I think it was $6.95 for whatever. It's a kind of a big book, and so he's going to he doesn't mind that's it. Just comes in, it's processed like any other book. It doesn't matter, it's a one-off thing. He's happy to get the work. If he wasn't making money, he wouldn't do it. So he takes it in, and he's gonna, for $5 or more, maybe $6, I don't know, depends how big the book is you're picking, and then he will convert it and send it to you and upload it to a place where you can then download the book, as I showed you where that screen is, and then when you log in at your account, and so you can test it out. If it doesn't work for you, what have you spent? You've bought a book for $5. You got a digital version of it, and maybe you figure, I'm not going to do that ever again. But I think you'll be sold on it immediately once you see everything you can do with it. So you're going to say, I'm never going to buy a book in a physical form ever again if I can possibly avoid it. And one other incidental thing, is just one of the weird things, but do you know how much space we've saved in my house here with getting rid of 350 books? Yeah, of course, if I did a Zoom call, there are no books behind me and I look like I'm an illiterate person, but it's not there. Books shouldn't be there to impress people or people who visit your home. It should be that it's useful to you, and it's not useful on a bookshelf anymore. That's an old-fashioned way of getting things. It's hard to remember where everything is. It's better to have it digital, and where you can flip through them with your finger and you go, oh, there's that book I love. I forgot all about that book. Oh, let me read it. And so at night when I sit down and go to sleep, I actually can thumb through books, and I pick them. Maybe one book is I'm reading regularly, another book I'm going to do a wild card, and I'm just going to look around and look at a book and then flip to a page and see what happens. And that's sometimes how God serendipitously can give you something to read that you should read, and that you never would have done it before. The fact it was so accessible to you, and you see it, and then you have to get up out of bed and then write a note to remember that particular passage the next day. Anyway, I'm just teasing. But anyway, so spend $5, experiment with it, and you'll find this is going to be it'll be a life changer, and then you'll decide to do this more regularly. Now, I'm going to tell you something I haven't mentioned that is a factor, is you have to pack it up. If you don't do it through Amazon, which is why that's actually this, doing Amazon books with him is cheaper for you, because your Amazon Prime payments are usually covering the shipment to him. So that adds up. So when you do it by shipping a box to him, that's another dollar or so a book. So I used to do a box of about 15 books, and it would cost me about $19 with the post office, and then I had to drive there and wait online and hand it in, or I actually I learned how to do it automatically at a special kiosk, and then I could put the box inside of another mail receptacle. But anyway, it takes a lot of time and effort and so on. It's that's the most difficult thing, the most painful thing, to get online, and plus do all the carrying of the box. It's heavy, and then you got to label it and all that. It takes you about an hour to do this whole thing to go to the post office. So it's time consuming. So Amazon's better. So I don't want you to say, oh, he didn't tell me about the post office and the postal charges. Well, that adds up quite a lot. It adds another dollar. So if it's $5 a book or $4 a book with the Kiko, it's going to be another dollar, maybe $1.20 when you get through, when the post office is through with you. And but again, if you really think about it, $6, even $6 for every book in your library to be out of your house in a place where you can, it's much more accessible, more usable, can't be burned in a fire, is precious. Books are precious, aren't they? They're like some of the your best friends sometimes is a book you can read. You know, Leo Tolstoy, War and Peace. I mean, wow, what a book. So you have all your good friends, your reading friends in this one place on your iPad or maybe your Kindle or whatever devices are you using. All right, everybody, I hope this helps you, and it'll make the community be what? More, have more greater access readily to books to study and read them at any time you want, day and night. And on planes, on trains, you can use your time on a train, let's say, more reasonably. Another thing is, I'm going to stop one more second, is all your books can be read to you now because they're OCR readable. These are, he's for an extra fee, he's making them OCR readable. You can just simply tell Siri, read the page, or put it into an Adobe Reader inside your iPad or maybe Kindle. I don't know how all the others work, but they can talk to you. They can read the whole thing to you and just go to work, listen to it. So, that's another option. All right, everybody, God bless. I hope that helps. And don't forget to go to the description, please. And if you were interested, sign up for Airtable. You can see how useful it is. And I get $1 credit off of my bill. And that would be very, I'd appreciate it very much. God bless everybody. Take care. Ciao. Bye.